The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 5 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/OneMicWithBigMike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 4 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/OneMicWithBigMike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 3 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/OneMicWithBigMike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 2 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/OneMicWithBigMike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 1 minute. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 30 seconds. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 5, 4, 3, 2.
One mic.
I'm back.
It's the One Mic with Big Mike show. Live.
There ain't no goddamn tape.
Interactive and on demand. One Mic. Yeah, a sports show.
The best move of LeBron's career, man, was dragging his sweaty ball sack right across Draymond Green's the nape of his neck and getting that dude suspended.
And so much more.
What's going on right now with Donald Trump? This is America, and it tickles me to death when white people are so shocked and appalled by it.
What? It's the One Mic with Big Mike show.
Of course, it's like anything, like ammonia or you sniffing glue is gonna get you high.
You've been warned. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts now. Here he is.
He's real cocky, he's real loudmouth, he's real flamboyant. He don't cow down to people.
Big Mike.
Yeah, man. Guess what day it is? Yeah, man. Wednesday here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Welcome in. You're either listening live right now on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, or on TuneIn. You can also check me out live on my Facebook live stream. It's going on at my Facebook page at the number one MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. Use that handle as well to like the page and to follow me on Twitter and Instagram to be involved in the show. And I do suggest that you do get involved, especially today, man. My man Rob Grimwood is coming at us live from London. He of the Across the FantasyPond.com website. He's going to help us out with our fantasy team this week, and I know a lot of us is going to need some help with some of the movement that has gone on in the world of the actual football league. To get your questions in for Rob, text them to me at 404-902-8104, or your questions for me, or your comments on what I'm doing here tonight, or on anything that I'm talking about. You can also jump on in my live interactive chat room. It's here for you and yours on Spreaker.com. While you're listening via Spreaker, you'll see a little thought bubble icon on the streaming player. Just click on that. It'll get you inside this live chat room I got set up here. Also, while you click in, make sure you click the little heart icon and the share icons as well, so your friends know what you're up to, and they can get acquainted to the show that I'm doing. One more thing, you can also leave your comments and questions and all those things below my streaming video here on Facebook as well. Once again, the page is at the number one MICWITHBIGMIKE. All right. As far as today's show goes, as I've already mentioned, my man Rob Grimwood from Across the FantasyPond.com is going to come on with me and get our fantasy football lineup straight. At the top of the next hour, I do what I do every show, give you guys a look into the past with my feature on this day, where I give you guys some little tidbits and factoids on things that happened on this particular day in history. Speaking of history might be made tonight. The World Series has been pretty good, even from somebody like my standards. So I'll talk about what all this. Excuse me. I had a what is that called? A Mountain Dew kickstart before I started the show. And now it's talking back to me. Anyway, I'll talk about what all this might mean for baseball going forward. I do have actually a compliment for baseball for once in a change. We're going to talk NFL, of course. The NFL had its trade deadline yesterday, and some things happened. A lot more movement than we're used to in the NFL too happened yesterday, and some things happened even before yesterday that we kind of glazed over a little bit. But once you package it in with what happened yesterday, it makes for good fodder. I think that's what they say. Also, the college football playoff rankings, the first ones of the year, came out yesterday, and oh my God, I bet people here in my city and my state are losing their damn minds. But there are reasons to temper that enthusiasm. I feel that way anyway, because I think we got 4 more weeks of college football to play. Talk to me when that's done. Like, holler at me then. You know what I mean? Who's at the top? Who's in that top 4 then? And then we can have a discussion of whether they should be there or not. But right now, yeah. All you really want to do is be in that top 7-ish, because I think that is as far as anyone has come, as far as anyone has moved to get into the championship. And I think that was Ohio State, or the championship 4, which was Ohio State. So it's a couple of teams that are outside of it that I want to talk about today before the show is over. And of course, some things are going on in the world. You guys made it through Halloween. Well, before I say that, everybody didn't make it through Halloween. Yesterday in, I think, Lower Manhattan, A dude decided he wanted to drive a rented U-Haul truck, pickup truck, through a bike path and kill 8 people. Which was, I mean, it's one of those things, man, that it's when you play the numbers out, as crazy as it sounds to say and even hear, America can't look at itself as immune to the things that are going on in this world. Like, these things, since what happened in 9/11 happened, there have been a few things that have happened abroad in other civilized nations, like in France and in England. A few times the terrorists have gotten off some shots on them. And when you play the numbers, it's one of those things, like, you can't control everything. And I think that's one of the big mistakes that I've heard. Well, not even mistakes. I mean, people are doing this stuff on purpose, and it's in a way, it's kind of sickening. You know what I mean? That once in true American fashion, what happens when you're not white and American, if somebody that does not look like that does something, it incriminates or criminalizes everyone who looks like that or believes what that person claims to believe. And it's such a bullcrap way of doing things. Like your man in the White House wants to talk about, well, he wanted to blame one of the senators, guy who's the senator of New York, Schumer, I guess his name is, because of how the guy got into America. But no one he don't want to address the fact that the dude came to America as a regular dude and got radicalized, in the ways of the terrorists while he was here. No one wants to address the issue of why would that happen? Like, you come here, you in the land of the free, you in the quote unquote best nation in the world. Like, what makes that dude then turn around and say, you know what, I hate this place? I mean, I know I do, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not finna drive no truck into nobody. I'm not finna strap no bomb to myself. Like, I love me still, you know what I mean? And like, promising me virgins in heaven. First of all, two things. One thing that I don't believe in, not virgins. I do believe they exist, but I don't want that trouble. I don't want that hassle. I'm way past that. When you come to me, you need to have some prior experience on your resume. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even understand what the attraction to that is. Like, you're gonna get you 40 virgins. That sounds like way too much work, player. But whatever. But what could have happened to him, or what went wrong in his pursuit of the American dream that would allow someone to enter that mental space and say, know what you're gonna do now? You're gonna go on a suicide mission for us with a U-Haul truck in New York, I guess minutes away from where the towers went down. It's the act itself is undeniably terrible, but like the reaction to it now, like the place that politics is at and the country's in right now, it's even more terrible. Like, people can't even mourn, you know what I'm saying, they loved ones without the jerk off in the White House taking the opportunity to point fingers and say, look at what we're doing. And I think he caught himself today too, talking about how he's got ISIS on the run. At some point, you know what's gonna have to happen? Someone's gonna have to explain to this dude, and maybe to a lot of other people too, that you won't get rid of that. Like, that type of thing, terrorism, has been a part of the world almost for probably as long as humans have had civilizations and differences. They've had it by different names and different ideologies. In America, by the way, at one point, and even now, coming back, it was called the Ku Klux Klan. What are they called? I don't got to put no respect on their name. The Klan. You know what I'm talking about, the KKK. Now these cats are running around here with tiki torches and swastikas and all that. It's the same thing. To me, it's no different than that. But again, as I started my commentary off, they're white and they're male predominantly. So you give them a little bit of protection because of their complexion. I don't know, man. It's just a whole ridiculous, like, this one dude out of, I think it's a couple of 100,000 people have gone through this program. So one dude gets mind effed, essentially, to the point where he commits this heinous act. And now because of that, everyone from everywhere that's not here must be punished. I don't know, man. I can't ever say that I'm surprised anymore because I understand where I live at, and I understand that is the American way. You know, any non-white male, if you do something, you commit a crime, you committed a crime on behalf of everyone who looks like you and everyone who believes what you believe in. Somebody said on Facebook, you know, sadly, I know what that's all about. It's not even where you can be sad about. It's just your reality. You know what I'm saying? It's just what your reality is. It's what my reality is. It is what it is. It's the same mentality that allows a police officer to kill an unarmed black man, multiple, and each one used the same excuse that they were just afraid. Afraid of what? He didn't have a gun. He didn't have a weapon. His hands was in the air. What were you afraid of? And that's what it is. You assume this guy's a criminal because of the way he looks. So I don't know, man. To the people that are going through this, man, you know what I'm saying? Stay strong. You know what I mean? Stay strong. Understand that don't let these people fool you into believing that this country is immune to the things that go on every day for some people in other countries. You know what I mean? But the reality is the terror or the terrorists, their goals aren't those 8 people. They want it to be much bigger than that. You know what I mean? The same reason you got to take your shoes off at the airport now. The same reason you got to go through so many other different things to get on the plane and whatnot. It's the ripple effect. It's the fear. It's the terror that they want. You know what I'm saying? These 8 people dying. It could have been in America. It could have been 2. It could have been 8. It could have been 80. Because look at how it's being reported. The largest terror attack in New York since 9/11. Now I don't want to belittle what happened, but I just want to give you a comparison in what's being said. I think it was 3,000 plus in those towers. In addition to the people who died after the fact because they went down there to help. They had glass and soot and everything in their lungs and ended up dying of these diseases. So add those on too to 8. See, and I believe it's reported that way, again, to spark up a certain amount of fear. And, you know, I guess all that stuff is personal about who you are, whether you want to be afraid or you want to just understand that in the broader scheme of things, this country doesn't sit on a pedestal when it comes to crazy people. You can't build a wall to keep these people out. There is no type of extreme vetting that gets these people out. Unless you're going to hunt down every member of ISIS or whoever, Al-Qaeda and all these people, the Taliban, and take their cell phones and take their laptops and make sure they don't have any Wi-Fi and any Wi-Fi enabled devices. You're not going to be able to do nothing. You're not going to be able to do nothing at all because this war that these people keep talking about, this war that's being fought, it's not being fought on no battlefield. These people, they getting at these people through the internet, cuz, you know what I mean? Through the Wi-Fi, through the landline, not land, the LAN line. So, you know, with that being said, man, I think at some point somebody's going to have to do what President Obama wanted to do. Find out, why the hell are y'all so mad? Why the hell y'all want to kill Americans so bad? Like, what's really happening? I'm not saying that would change anything, but like, I would want to know that. If some dude was trying to fight me every day, like I was going to school or something, and some dude was trying to fight me every single day, yeah, I probably want to know, dude, like, what's up, man? Like, why are you trying to fight me every day, man? Like, not saying that the dude would stop trying to fight me, but maybe if I knew why, and if I was doing something, I could stop doing that. You know what I mean? But America, you know, it's too fashionable to be like, because we're so great. Of course, we're so great. These people want to come over here and kill us. All right, sure, that's what it is. Anyway, I just wanted to get it off my chest, man, and you know, recognize those people, man, the people who died, the people who were injured. the people who were involved in the rescue and the apprehension of the terrorists, all those people, man. I just wanted to recognize that before I started talking sports and stuff that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It is the One Mike with Big Mike show here, live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Spreaker. Also on the Spreaker app, and I'm saying Spreaker for those of you who may be listening for the first time, SPREAKER.com, or the app is available in your app store for whatever device you may have. Also, you can hear the show on TuneIn, so some of you may be listening on TuneIn and not even know about Spreaker. You can also hear the show or see the show, which is basically me sitting here behind my microphone at my Facebook page at One Mike with Big Mike on Facebook. Go ahead and like the page while you're there. Tell your friends about it. Share me with your people, man. And also follow me on the same handle on Twitter and Instagram at One Mike with Big Mike. You can text the show at 404-902-8104. I got my man Rob Grimwood coming up at the bottom of the hour to talk some fantasy football. So if some of these moves that have gone on in the world of real football have gotten you a little shaken, hopefully we can get those things cleared up for you. So you can send me your questions there. You can leave them below the live Facebook stream here on Facebook, or you can jump on in my live interactive chat room and drop me a line there as well. Okay, so speaking of the NFL, some things have happened today. Some things have transpired in the last, I guess, 24 hours, and we'll talk about them. I'll talk about them. First and foremost, let's go with the trades. Also, on a brighter note, happy half-off Halloween candy day to everybody. I didn't participate today, or this week, or this year, I should say, because I'm trying to limit my sugar intake. I'm getting like way too, at a point I was getting way too overzealous with the sugar, man. So I've been trying to, like, any unneeded sugar, try to, exit from the old diet. So I didn't go down to the old Family Dollar, whatever it's called, the Dollar General or whatnot, and pack up on old, day old candy, Halloween candy or whatever. I just left that to y'all, man. So hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Okay, so some of the things that happened, as far as player movement, one, Ezekiel Elliott. This is a part of all this. He didn't get traded, but his suspension as of right now, as of me doing the show right now, it still stands. His people are trying to file an emergency stay to allow him to play. And there's some like technicalities in this that I don't really understand. I didn't get a chance to holler at my guy Steve Silver about this to get like the true understanding of this. But here's what I'm going to read to you guys, exactly what I found. After having their emergency motion to the Southern District of New York denied, the NFLPA, the Players Association, they moved to appeal the decision to deny a preliminary injunction. See, I don't know what that is. That went to the Second Court of Appeals. Now, word has come in the legal team. Word has come in the legal team trying to avoid Elliott having to miss any time over his 6-game suspension have filed an emergency motion to the appellate court. And I think that's where we are now. So as it stands right now, Elliott will serve his suspension even during the appeals process, which usually is not the case. Usually while you're appealing, you get to play. Yeah, you get to play, I think. That equates to Elliott only being financially compensated for missed games should he end up winning. So even if he wins, he'll miss the games. He'll miss playing in the games, but he'll still get his bread, which I think is not really what he's after here. The emergency motion would stop the suspension on the grounds that missing games would cause irreparable harm to Elliott's career beyond the loss of just his paychecks, because of course, the assumption will be made that he will be able to, at some point, recoup that money on, further on the next contract that he signs because of the caliber player that he is. Any restraining order or injunction granted by the Second Circuit would go into effect immediately. It is less likely they will be successful. So more likely, Ezekiel Elliott is going to miss these 6 games. And with him missing these 6 games, it's going to put the Cowboys, if you're a Cowboys fan out there, it's going to put you in a little bit of a bind because you got like hella division games, especially I think you got one of the 2 Philly games will be played while he's out. And of course, Philadelphia of the, 6-1 right now, 6-1, 7-1, sitting on top of the NFC East right now. That's who Dallas is trying to catch for that NFC East title. So that's where he stands. Now, to the trades. Couple things. A couple weeks ago, as a matter of fact, The first domino to fall was the Bills sending Marcel Darius to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is like, damn. All right, they already getting like 1 million sacks a game. They brought in Calais Campbell as a free agent from the Cardinals, and for whatever reason, man, they're doing big things. Even on the back end, they got Jalen Ramsey back there. The other corner's pretty good. They're playing some hellified defense, so it kind of covers up what they have at quarterback in Blake Bortles, which everyone thought was going to be the downfall of the team. But they're hanging right in there. They're in a very winnable division with no Andrew Luck, so it's basically them and the Texans, and the Titans are in there too. The Titans are still holding in there. Up to them to win or lose that division. And I think Marcel Darius, we know him from Marcel Darius is out of Alabama, and he's a hell of a player, man. He's one of those guys who's been suspended. I don't know if it was multiple times, but I know he's been suspended at least once for the marijuana. The NFL gonna find out, man. We gonna all find out that the deal that's been made out of this stuff, man, for the NFL is really no deal at all, no big deal at all, and people have lost careers and people have had careers sidetracked because of it, and it's a damn shame. You know, the sack leader in the NFL right now, the kid out of Boise State that plays for the Cowboys, I can't even think of his name right now. Lawrence, Demarcus Lawrence. Yeah, he's been suspended for the weed, but you know he's able to do the things that he's able to do. Alden Smith, we ain't heard from him in a while. He was still playing good ball, but they felt like, oh no, he's on weed. We've got to get him on Vicodin, you know what I mean, and Percocet or whatever the hell they're giving these players in what they describe as candy bowls of prescription medicine sitting in locker rooms, I guess. But they're gonna find out sooner or later that this is gonna be a bad decision going forward. They're gonna be on the wrong side of history, is what I'm trying to say. On Monday, before the show was over, I got news from a couple of listeners that Jimmy Garoppolo had been traded. It happened right as I was about to end the show too, man. Traded for a second round pick from the Patriots to the 49ers, man. It's like he's going straight from sugar to ish in a blink of an eye. And it's real. Well, I mean, he came, he got him a ring, and it's time to go get money now. And he wanted money. We ended up finding out after the fact, of course, what it was all about. And it was about the money. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I talked about on Monday, that they weren't going to pay two players starting quarterback money because in fact, if you're Jimmy Garoppolo, you know that's what the market is for you. You had a couple games last year. One, you got that Patriots aura around you, so people think anything they touch has turned to gold, regardless of if it has or if it hasn't. So with all that being said, why would I take some type of discount and then also just to sit behind Tom Brady? I couldn't even understand why people kept saying that he needs to just sit put. Well, yeah, maybe if it was a matter of, okay, you're under contract for 2 or 3 more years already under the same, salary that you have now. But if your value has surpassed what it is now and the team that you're with can't afford you, I don't give a damn who the team is. I don't give a damn who you're behind. Tom Brady is probably the greatest quarterback of all time, granted. But that don't mean you just sit your ass there and rot. While he decides if he's going to play till 45 or 50 or whatever he says he's going to do. No, you got to go get your money. You play football for a living. Ain't no guarantees in this. And I say that both literally and figuratively. There are no guarantees. Get your butt somewhere that you can get your money. And because of the ego that resides within a professional athlete, you want to go somewhere and also display your skills. Show that you can get the job done. He was out in San Francisco at the press conference with a big smile on his face, and everybody's talking about quarterback of the future and all that. Well, the future is the next, 8 games or whatever, 7, 8 games for him. That's the future, because if he shows up and he is what a lot of people have been after they've gone through the Patriot system and been trash with somebody else, guess what game the 49ers are playing? They're playing this game. Okay. If Garoppolo works out, fine. We got a quarterback that we're comfortable with. But if Garoppolo doesn't work out, fine too. You get the hell on. Kirk Cousins, who Kyle Shanahan knows very well, has been franchised twice Back-to-back years. Never been done before. And if you think they're going to do it for a third time, you losing your damn mind. And he can talk all that crap he wants to about, I want to be a Redskin, blah, 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 blah. But it seems to me like if the money if it comes down to the money, and they've already got a receiver out there who he's had plenty of success with, and Pierre Garçon, excuse me. The coach he's had plenty of success with, that was there when they drafted him. So if the money's the same, or even close, you might have another Brock Osweiler situation. Not the on the field Brock Osweiler situation. The situation like, okay, you ain't appreciating me over these last 2 years. Why don't I go somewhere that does appreciate me? Now it does put him in a kind of a if what's the guy's name? If Garoppolo does play well, it puts Kirk Cousins in a situation where it's like, damn, now where do I end up? You know what I'm saying? You got to start looking around for who needs quarterback, where can I go and be successful, and then maybe also, if Washington ends up being your only landing spot, they may be able to lowball you, somewhat. You may not get that Matt Stafford money that people are assuming you may get because at one point you had certain leverage behind you. It's a lot to process with just one deal happening. It's a lot to process here, man. And we won't know anything about it until the season is over with, until both guys enter free agency whenever the new league year starts in, what is that, February? The Seattle Seahawks got their left tackle now, Dwayne Brown. And to be able to fit him in there, because this is a salary cap league, my man Russ Wilson had to redo his contract. Now, I don't want people to start thinking that, Russ gave money back. He may have. I don't know the details yet, and I forgot to go look for him. He didn't give up. He didn't necessarily have to give up money. They may have just moved his current money around in a way to manipulate the salary cap. I'll know more about it on when I come back on Friday or whatnot. Kelvin Benjamin, big ass Kelvin Benjamin, is a Buffalo Bill now. The Buffalo Bills, who got rid of Sammy Watkins, sent him to L.A. I think they're last in passing yards to wide receivers this year. Of course, they got Charles Clay. They got Shady in the backfield. He's a good receiver, but they needed somebody to help out your man Tyrod, especially now that they're in the playoff hunt in Buffalo for the first time in many years. So if you're gonna go. If you're gonna get it all. And they went and got Kelvin Benjamin. And I wonder, did you guys see? Shout out to the homie I Am No Dose. He's up in here, man. He's in the chat room. See your man Cam Newton at the press conference again this week. I mean, golly, dude. I'm not expecting that dude to come out with streamers. And then, here's the thing, too, but he set a precedent about that, too. He comes out, he's doing all the smiling thing. Then he got caught up in that stuff with that young lady. Now Cam want to start skipping the press conferences. He want to come out there and being short and snappy with the reporters. And today he's out there all butthurt because his best friend got traded. It's like, my dude, do you not? I'm so amazed at the surprise that comes across people. This is the NFL, cuz. This ain't high school football and your man moved away with his family. This is a business. All you people are commodities. You're not humans. No one does another human being like that. No one says to this human being like Cam Newton, all right, dude, I want you to run full speed into this other dude that's 250, 260 pounds every week. I want you to do that a couple times. No, people don't just consciously do other human beings like that. They don't care. Everyone has an agenda. Ron Rivera wants to keep his job. The owner wants to keep the team profitable and possibly win a championship. The players want to keep making their money. Everybody has an agenda. But they want to talk all this, like here in Atlanta, the brotherhood. Miss me with the bull, man. Do business, because that's what it is. Get as much money as you can, as soon as you can get it. And when it's over, be all right. Not many people get this opportunity. I might have brain damage by the time I'm 40, but you know what? I knew the risk, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. I got another concussion story I want to talk about as well before the show is over. Jay Ajayi, before I get up out of here, that happened. He's gone from Miami, and now he is in Philadelphia, which puts a monkey wrench into my whole fantasy lineup situation, man. So I got to talk to my man Rob Grimwood here in a minute or two, about 2 or 3 minutes about that, and get his take on what I should do with LeGarrette Blount. And then after I talk to him, I'm gonna leave this one. This whole situation with the Browns, the factory of sadness that is the Browns. Oh man, like there's certain things that when they happen, you be like, okay, that happens. That to that team, that's how it goes down, right? Like if when the Falcons give up a lead now, they are the poster children for blowing leads. No matter who does it, you be like, oh yeah, that's just like 28-3 right there. Yeah, right there, 25-point lead, just like the Falcons. They are the standard now, the standard bearers for that terrible thing. Anyway, time to take a break. Come back. I'll get my man Grimwood on the line. We'll talk. We'll kick it around a little bit. I already got his reaction to the whole dead bugging thing, so I'm gonna leave him alone about that and just talk fantasy football this week. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show here live on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, and on TuneIn. Don't forget you can get your questions in fantasy football wise by texting them to 404-902-8104. I see somebody called. You don't call, dude. Just send a text. Or you can drop them in my live interactive chat room or leave them under the live stream here on Facebook. I'll be right back.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cool time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
And now, back to One Mic.
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
With Big Mike.
Welcome back. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show here live on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. Tune in. And don't forget, you guys can hear the show on demand on every last one of those outlets I've already mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play, Music, and YouTube. So if you miss any of the show tonight, especially this next segment here, this next fantasy football segment, you can always go back and see what my man Rob Grimwood had to say. Hey, Rob.
Yo.
My bad.
How's it going, man?
Good, man. You know what this song is? Can you hear this song?
No, I can't hear that.
You can't?
No.
Ah, crap. Rob can't hear the song. All right. No worries.
Is it something to do with dead bugging by any chance?
Absolutely.
Dude, my
there
wife...
absolutely is no dead bugging song as far as I know.
you ought to see the look on my wife's face when I told her about it.
No, you didn't do that, did you?
We have an open relationship. We discuss everything.
Wait, dude. You got to clarify that. You just can't say you have an open relationship. I don't know what that means over there, but that means something totally different over here. It
probably does. It means we're open with each other. It means we talk about everything.
Yeah, open relationship over here means you get to bang whoever you want to bang. So.
Oh no! Me and my wife are not like that. But no way.
All right, shout out to Mrs. Grimwood. All right, man, we got a lot of stuff we got to talk about today, and this segment is going to be partially very, very selfish for me because some things happened that have thrown my fantasy team in a little bit of a swirl here. So, first thing I got to ask you, do I need to go ahead and cut LeGarrette Blount right now, or can I wait? Because I've heard that they're not going to go ahead and by the way, for those of you who don't know, a couple of things. Let me do an introduction. This is Rob Grimwood from the AcrossTheFantasyPond.com website. He's on Twitter. 2 ways you can get to him on Twitter: FFBritBaller and at Fantasy Pond. Okay, I know they said they're not going to give Jay Ajayi the dose, the full dose of the carries this week. So I'm reading that to say maybe I got 1 week that I can hold on to LeGarrette Blount, maybe. But I wanted to ask you about it before I did anything. Should I go ahead and just let that go, or should I give it another run for a week?
Look, this week you're not going to get anything from either of them because they're going up against the Broncos.
It is true.
You know, and the Broncos have got the best run defense. They haven't given up a touchdown all year. They've only given up 427 yards. Both of those stats rank number 1 in fantasy. So you're not going to get nothing from either guy. Jay Ajayi is my sit this week just because I'm not going to trust him just yet in that new offense. Now, with Blunt, I don't know what to tell you, man. I think he's worth holding on to just because I think he's still going to be the goal line guy. He's still actually really impressive. I'd hold on to him. I think he can still offer you something there.
All right. I trust you, my man. The other dilemma I have, and trust me, y'all, I'll get into the main, who to start, who to sit, and I'll get into all that here in just a second. But I need to be selfish real quick.
Go ahead.
I got a quarterback conundrum here. Because I told you last week, I've got McCown going, and McCown did well for me. I think he gave me like 18, 19 points or something. A very respectable number. But this week, I'm not really sure if I should go with him because they've got the Bills, right?
They have.
Yeah, and the Bills don't play on defense. So here's what I'm thinking, because here's what's available to me.
Okay.
With the Osweiler thing happening, Osweiler's available to me. Blake Bortles is available to me. Yeah, some terrible names I'm about to read off to you. Eli Manning is available to me, and Jacoby Brissett is available to me.
I've just been sick a little bit in my mouth.
I know. Yeah, it's bad.
Okay, you want my out of those 4 there? There's one guy out of those who is actually in my top 10 this week, and that is Jacoby Brissett. And I'll tell you why. Indianapolis are a bit of a train wreck. Trust me, I'm an Indianapolis fan. I know they're a train wreck. But Jacoby Brissett can get it done with his feet. And I really fancy him to get a rushing touchdown. He's capable of it. He's done it already this year. So that boosts his stats in fantasy straight away. And with this, Jack Doyle is a big name at the moment in Indianapolis, the tight end. He had, I think, 12 targets last week, over 100 yards. Look, Jacoby Brissett is fine. He's a fine play this week. He's ranked 10th for me. So, I do fancy it. Out of those 4 in particular, I mean, Brock Osweiler, I'd be surprised if he's in my top 25. So it's definitely not for me. But I think out of those 4 you just gave me, Jacoby Brissett is the guy that I would start.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab him as soon as we get through doing this. The last time I did this, though, somebody crept me. It was with Austin Seferian Jenkins. It was with my man, my other fantasy guy. And I said it I asked about it on the air. By the time I got off the air, guess what? He was gone. Somebody scooped him up. So hopefully that didn't happen this time, too. All right, so let's get into it. We got some buys this week. We got another 6 buys. We got the Bears, the Browns. The Browns are on bye every week, seemingly. The Chargers, the Vikings, the Patriots, and the Steelers. So that means for all the people who were so impressed with Juju Smith-Schuster last week, you won't have him. You won't have Le'Veon. You won't have Big Ben. You won't have Antonio Brown. For the Vikings, you won't have the 2 wide receivers or the running back that they got from Oakland last year. For the Chargers, you won't have Phillip Rivers. You won't have Travis Benjamin, who showed out a couple of weeks ago or last week. For the Bears, you won't have Howard or Cohen. So with all those people being out of the mix, what do people do? Who are some of your guys? Who are some of your waiver pickups, some of your filling guys that you see producing well this week?
Okay, so I wrote an article on the website this week, my waiver pickups for this week, because I think it's actually quite an interesting week. Now, you mentioned the quarterback situation there. Now, there's one guy on the quarterback waivers at the moment who is actually my start of the week as well. So this is a bit of a double whammy for you because Jared Goff is currently he is 26% owned. This was yesterday, just before the waivers went through. So I expect it to be a little bit higher than that. But Jared Goff is likely going to be available in most leagues, and he is my start of the week. He's actually in my top 5 ranked quarterbacks this week because he's got a very, very good matchup against the Giants this week, who are fantasy gold for opposing players. So Jared Goff, for me, is a guy that you could pick up if you've got a Brady who's on a bye week this week, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger. If you've got those guys in your lineup, then this is a guy that you can plug in straight away. Running backs, Alex Collins from the Baltimore Ravens, I think he's now just clipped 50% ownership. Before the waivers, he was under 30%. So, there's a lot of people favouring Alex Collins, and rightly so as well. I mean, the dude's not scored a touchdown this year yet, but he is definitely the main guy running the ball in Baltimore. He's coming off a 113 rush yard display last week, and he's going to get plenty of opportunities to deliver some more fantasy points every week from now on in. And also, a little side note for Alex Collins, he is well worth picking up because his fantasy playoff schedule includes the Browns and the Indianapolis Colts, I believe. So he is a guy that could potentially win you some big games later on in the season. Marlon Mack is just a sleeper pick. It's worth just noting that he's got an increased carry percentage the last few weeks. And Frank Gore is... I love Frank Gore, but I think he's on his way out now. Look for Marlon Mack to start being integrated a little bit more into the offense. Wide receiver, obviously, Juju Smith is one of my favorites to pick up, but he's on bye this week. Mm-hmm. So look towards Robbie Anderson and Paul Richardson. Robbie Anderson from the New York Jets. He flashes. He's a very good downfield guy. He's got a brilliant ability of being very productive after the catch, and he's very good at creating separation in the backfield. So in the down the field. So Robbie Anderson's one to look at. Paul Richardson from Seattle Seahawks. He's a guy that's got it's vastly becoming one of Russell Wilson's favourite targets. And whilst Doug Baldwin is taking a lot of the defensive coverage away, Paul Richardson is there sort of eating up the targets. So here's another one. He's got a fantastically high floor. He's scored more than 9 points in most games this week. So he's a guy that you could plug in fairly safely and get some good value out of. Tight end, we've mentioned Jack Doyle. I really, really like Jack Doyle. He's such a target hog in that poor offense. He is the light at the end of a very dark, long tunnel for Indianapolis this season. But he is shining. He is shining. So he's worth picking up. It's available. I've mentioned on this show before, actually, George Kittle from San Francisco 49ers. I still love Kittle. I'm still all about Kittle. Okay, he's been a bit up and down this year, but fast forward 2 weeks from now, or a week and a half from now, he goes up against the New York Giants, who are terrible against the tight ends. They've given up double-digit touchdowns and more yards than anybody else. So George Kittle is one for week 10, I think, in 2 weeks' time, isn't it? So yeah, there's some guys that are currently available in the waiver wires in most leagues, or at least half your leagues. They're worth keeping an eye on to maybe pick up this week if you've got some bye week replacements needed.
Dude, I got to ask you this before because as you're talking, I'm trying to make sure my target isn't gone. But as I'm looking at it, apparently someone has released Marcus Mariota as well. So between he and Jacoby Brissett, where am I going? Marcus Mariota got that Baltimore D on him this week, though.
I'm just looking at Mariota. I've got Mariota ranked 18th this week in fantasy. So actually, from week to week, although I prefer Marcus Mariota's season long, I think this week I'd still roll out Brissett, and it's a risky play because Brissett is hot and cold. If you want a safe play, I'd go Marcus Mariota because he's got Corey Davis back. It's likely to have a bit of an uptick. It's a dart throw. That's what Jacoby Brissett is. He's a dart throw.
Yeah, screw being safe. I'm going for it. If you're wondering who the other voice on the phone is, he is my man Rob Grimwood, one of the best adult industry names in the world. Rob Grimwood. He's from the acrossthefantasypond.com website, so make sure you guys check it out. I keep saying the across, but acrossthefantasypond.com is the website. He's on Twitter at FFBritBaller and at FantasyPond. Look here. Okay, who's got some great matchups for us this week? You mentioned a couple of guys so far, but who else has got some must start if you got them on your team, other than the Bradys and the guys who you already would naturally think? Who are some guys who may be flying a little bit under the radar, but if they got the type of matchups that if you got them, you got to start them?
Yeah, well, don't start Brady because he's on a bye.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah, so we mentioned Jared Goff at quarterback. Running back this week, my pick of the week is running back from Green Bay, Aaron Jones. The guy is a rookie. He's flashed. He looks so good. He's come in.
Carries too. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets fed the ball. He's being fed. So Aaron Jones for me is in my top 10 this week, and I expect him to have a fairly good game. I think he's well and truly solidified that main running back role. I think Ty Montgomery is still going to be involved. I still think he's going to be Ty Montgomery is going to take the passing down work, but certainly Aaron Jones for me is a hot commodity right now, and I think he's well worth starting this week. Wide receiver, look, I am all aboard Des Bryant this week, and in fact, I love Des Bryant going forward, especially now with this whole mess. Don't get me started on this. I've got some very fiery takes on this whole Zeke Elliott thing, but nonetheless, he looks like he's going to be suspended. Dak is going to have a lot of opportunity now to spread that ball out, and Des Bryant, for me, is going to take off. I have got Des Bryant down for a couple of touchdowns this week, so that's why he's made my start of the week. He goes up against a Chiefs defense who are miserable against wide receivers. They've given up 13 touchdowns, which is by far and away the worst in the league, and 1,438 yards to wide receivers, which is third worst in the league. So there's a matchup there to be exploited. Des Bryant is a veteran. He's very, very good at what he does, and he's going to be able to take full advantage of this matchup.
You know what? I wanted to ask you about this too. With now Kelvin Benjamin being in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Two players I want to know how it's going to affect. I want to know how it's going to affect Tyrod Taylor, and I want to know how it's going to affect Devin Funchess as well. I figure Cam Newton can, because they're already kind of up and down in the passing game as it is, especially as far as he goes. But wide receiver wise, not only Devin Funchess. Let me go Devin Funchess and Christian McCaffrey and Tyrod Taylor. How are those three guys going to be affected fantasy wise?
Okay, it's interesting. I've just had a nice long chat on my podcast with Chris Meaney from the Fantasy Network. We discussed at length about Devin Funchess. Now, Devin Funchess has done very little since he's been in the league. I've had him in a dynasty league for the first 2 years of his career, and I can assure you he did absolutely nothing for them 2 years. Now, he has had a bit of a breakout year. I'm definitely granting you that. But now Kelvin Benjamin has gone. That's arguably Carolina's biggest threat from the receiver position out of the way. So now Devin Funchess is going to have to deal with all that main coverage. So how is he going to cope with this? Now, he's a big guy. He's probably going to be able to cope with it, but how is he going to work with it? And I'm not convinced that Funchess is good enough to keep breaking out and keep being a really good wide receiver. Now, I could be proved wrong, but I haven't seen it. The last 2 years, I'm not really a Funchess guy just because of what I've seen. I don't think he's going to do it. Now, Christian McCaffrey is going to keep getting better and better. Although he doesn't run the ball, he's basically a receiver. He's going to continue getting plenty of opportunities in that offense. But the one guy for me who hasn't really been mentioned, flying under the radar a little bit, is the rookie Curtis Samuel. And he's one of... Yeah, he's one of the guys on my sort of deep sleepers lookouts for this week. In fact, I wrote about him in the off season because he's super quick, lightning speed, and he's got good hands. He can run the ball out of the backfield as well. So he's one of these guys. He's a Tyreek Hill kind of player. He's really explosive. Now, keep your eye on him because I think he's going to have a chance to break out, and he could well do that. Now, for the Bills, Tyrod Taylor. I like Tyrod Taylor. I like the way he plays. Now, as for throwing the ball deep, that's not his strong point. Kelvin Benjamin is certainly going to help develop that. I think that Kelvin Benjamin is going to open up the Bills completely, and I really think the Bills are going to go up to the next level now. And I think that Tyrod Taylor can use Benjamin. Thus, Tyrod Taylor's going to get a lot better. I think you could see him knocking on the door of being a top 15 quarterback for sure.
No doubt. We got a couple minutes left here with my man Rob Grimwood. We're gonna get to your fantasy lineup questions here in just a second. I got a couple here in my chat room as well, so I gotta scroll up and catch them. But I want you to give me real quickly some guys who have terrible matchups. That if you can start anybody else except for them, do that.
Yeah, okay. So actually, before I do that, I'm just going to mention that I didn't say a tight end. My tight end to start this week would be ASJ versus the Bills, funnily enough. I think I love ASJ. I had him as my sit last week. He wasn't very good. You know, he's going to be back this week. So ASJ, if you've got him, plug him in. Now, for my sits, Andy Dalton would have been started in a lot of leagues last week. He was the third best quarterback in fantasy last week. Fair play. He's now going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are number one against quarterbacks. They only give up 12 fantasy points per game. So it's a tough matchup for Dalton, and he does not do it for me. His offensive line is brutal. He's just got no time in the pocket, and I really don't rate Andy Dalton anymore. He had a good matchup last week against my Indianapolis Colts. He did well, but now you can throw him back on the waiver wire because you're not going to need him for the rest of the year. So he's definitely a sit for me this week. Running back, I've already said to you, Jay Ajayi is the guy that I'm sitting this week because I don't trust him just yet in that Philadelphia offense. I want to see how that pans out. I want to see the role that Blunt has. I want to see, what's going to happen in that offense. Wide receiver wise, I'm not a massive fan of Doug Baldwin this week. In fact, I've not been a massive fan of Doug Baldwin all season. I wrote a nice article, a horrible article on him really in the off season, saying how I didn't think he's considered. I don't consider him elite receiver. Now, having said that, he is the main receiver in Seattle, and this week they go up against the Washington Redskins, which means Josh Norman's in town. So there's your coverage right away. Doug Baldwin is going to draw that coverage, which is another reason why I like picking up Paul Richardson this week, because it's likely that the coverage is going to be on Baldwin opening up the rest of the field. Jimmy Graham's another one that's going to potentially feed this week in that tight end position. Washington aren't great against tight ends. But like I said, wide receiver Doug Baldwin, I'm sitting him this week. And just to finish off with the tight end, Evan Ingram from New York Giants. For me, I love him rest of season. I actually quite like Evan Ingram, and I've got him in my main league of record. But this week particularly, versus the Rams, they're not to be argued with. The Giants are very flighty at the moment, and I don't think Evan Ingram, especially with Sterling Shepard back as well, I think they're just Evan Ingram might just have a week just to sit this week, I think.
Damn it. You guys want to hear some more of this bad news, make sure you go to acrossthefantasypond.com. All right, let's get to your fantasy football lineup questions. I got a couple here in my chat room. First one being Bilal Powell versus Buffalo or Carlos Hyde versus the Cardinals.
Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde on that one.
Carlos Hyde. Just by a smidge.
Alan Hearns versus the Bengals or Jordan Matthews versus those Jets tomorrow night.
Cool, that's another tough one. You're not being very fair on me, Mike.
We're not throwing softballs around here, man. We're coming with the heat, the cheese.
I'm going to go Alan Hearns just because Marquise Lee looks like he's not going to be playing this week, so that opens up Alan Hearns to be a bit of a target hog. However, I will just go on to that point. There's another wide receiver entering the fray in Jacksonville, which is Dede Westbrook. He's a young rookie. He was absolutely sensational in the preseason. I mean, this kid lit the preseason up for Jacksonville.
Kid out of Oklahoma?
I'm not quite sure what college he's out of, I'll be honest.
Yeah, you know what? I think he went to Oklahoma. He's the kid that got arrested a couple times, and then when they interviewed him at the Combine, he was like, well, I didn't get no charges, so that means I'm just like you.
Yeah, that could well be him. So Dede Westbrook for me is a guy that's really one to keep an eye on. But Alan Hearns this week, I would take him over Jordan Matthews. Jordan Matthews' situation is now a little bit up in the air with Calvin Benjamin coming in.
There's actually a three-way thing here.
Oh, okay.
That kind of three-way thing. I forgot to add Cooper Kupp to that scenario. So those two guys and Cooper Kupp, out of those three guys, maybe give me two.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp and Alan Hearns. I don't like Jordan Matthews this week at all.
There we go. Okay, I got another 2 out of 3. Alshon Jeffrey versus Denver. Mike Evans at New Orleans, who's been playing much better defense in the last 4 or 5 weeks here in that little win streak they've had. And Michael Thomas versus the Buccaneers, who have been just as bad on defense as the Saints have been good.
Okay, that's a fairly straightforward one for me. It's the guys that are facing off against each other. This game, New Orleans, whenever New Orleans is involved in a game, it's got the potential to be a shootout. Whenever it's a shootout, you start your wide receivers. Now, I know Michael Thomas and Mike Evans haven't been the elite guys that we thought they would be this year. However, they're still unbelievably good. And Mike Evans is in my top 10 this week, so he's definitely started. And Michael Thomas is in my top 3 this week. I really fancy that game to be a shootout. And when it's a shootout, like I said, the wide receivers will feast, and those 2 are the main guys. As for Alshon Jeffrey, he struggled this year, and he's against the best defense in NFL right now. So you're gonna have to be sitting him.
Absolutely. I don't know why I wrote this down wrong, but Tevin Coleman is actually playing the Panthers this week, or Aaron Jones, the young guy in Green Bay, versus the Detroit Lions.
Well, considering he's my start of the week, I'm going to have to go with Aaron Jones.
Absolutely. And finally here, this one may be a little bit harder for you. Jared Goff at those New York Giants, or Alex Smith, the new and improved alien version of Alex Smith at the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, I mean, who is this kid, Alex Smith? I mean, he's not the same guy that's been there for the last few years, is he?
It's a clone. They've killed him, cloned his body, and made him much better this year. That's what's happened.
Is smoking weed is that illegal in Kansas? Because I think he's been doing it because he's a different guy.
Well, there's been some rumor about Alex Smith doing certain illicit situations, but not necessarily the weed. Anyway, where are we starting, Rob?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Sorry, going back to that. It's a tough one for me because they're both in my top 10. Alex Smith is ranked 8th, but Jared Goff is, like I said to you, he's my second-ranked wide receiver this week. I really think he has got a really good matchup, and he is going to continue. They've just coming off a bye as well, so they'll be prepped, ready for this. New York Giants they're not a good team. They're not a good team. So Jared Goff for me.
That's being very nice. All right, man. Well, that's going to do it, man. I'm going to talk to you in a couple of weeks now. I appreciate you stepping in from my man, Matt Latofsky, man. I definitely appreciate it. It's been fun. And, I'll be, we'll go back and forth a couple of times on Twitter as well. Speaking of Twitter, you guys make sure you follow my man, Rob Grimwood. 2 places, at FFBritBaller and at Fantasy Pond. Also, make sure you go to the website, Across the Fantasy Pond, get all his great articles on waiver stuff and all these type of things. Anything you want to know about fantasy football, getting across the pond perspective on fantasy football. Rob, once again, man, Thank you. I'll be talking to you, brother.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks a lot, Mike. Nice to speak to you again.
You got it. Oh, yeah, Alex Smith. I don't know if you guys know about Alex Smith's past, his 49ers days. I won't get too in-depth in it, but it's probably something that you can Google. Big L, what up, dog? Big L's in the chat room. You guys can join him in there. Just head on over to Spreaker, the Spreaker app as well. Once you start listening on the streaming player, you'll see a little thought bubble icon. Just click on that joint, man. It'll get you up in here, and you can goof around with these idiots, as well as myself. You can leave me comments and questions under my live streaming video here on Facebook at @1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. Make sure you like the page as well, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at that same handle. 404-902-8104 is the number you want to text if you want to just fire off a quick little comment, shoot and run. That's the number you want to do it at. I'm thinking about doing something on Friday. I'm gonna make up a little flyer for it so I can get it cracking on social media as well. But this thing the other day got me really thinking. Maybe do something like a freestyle Friday. Big L, you weren't here when I was talking about this, but doing like a freestyle Friday where you guys just tell me what you want to talk about. We can start today, as a matter of fact. So we can do that any day, as a matter of fact. But formally, we can do it on Fridays, and you guys just tell me, what you've encountered during the day, whether it be sports, whether it be politics, whether it be something that's happened in the world of pop culture, whether it's happened something crossed you on social media. Hit me with it, man. Let's have a conversation about it. There's a good chance that I know about it or I've seen something on it, and we can get into it here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. How much time I got? It's time to take a break. Okay, 1 hour down here on the One Mic with Big Mike show on this Hump Day Wednesday. We about to get some basketball popping, I think, man. Rockets and the Knicks. Get to see that boy James Harden get busy. The Unicorn, Kristaps Porzingis. Don't look now, man. The Knicks at 500. The Knicks are at 500, and the Pistons are at the top of the East. And the last time I checked, the damn Cavaliers were in like 10th place. Go figure. It won't be that way long, I don't think. But, you know, it's good to see that kind of trash-like parody in the Eastern Conference. I'm going to take a break, man. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show here live on Spreaker, the Spreaker app, and, of course, tune in as well.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
I heard on the news about that 5-year-old who found his uncle's gun. The kid didn't know it was loaded.
I heard on the news about that 14-year-old girl who was bullied online. For like a year, she couldn't take it anymore, so she got her dad's gun from his nightstand.
I heard on the news about that guy who broke into someone's house, stole a gun from the hall closet.
He accidentally shot his cousin in the head.
She killed herself.
And later, killed the owner of the store he was trying to rob.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
One mic.
I'm back. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show. Live.
Ain't no goddamn tape.
Interactive and on demand. One Mic. Yeah, a sports show.
The best move of LeBron's career, man, was dragging his sweaty ball sack right across Draymond Green's the nape of his neck and getting that dude suspended.
And so much more.
What's going on right now with Donald Trump? This is America, and it tickles me to death when white people are so shocked and appalled by it.
What? It's the One Mic with Big Mike show.
Of course, it's like anything, like ammonia or you sniffing glue is gonna get you high.
You've been warned. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts now. Here he is.
He's real cocky. He's real loudmouth. He's real flamboyant. He don't cow down to people.
Big Mike.
Yes, sir. Back here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Shout out to my man Rob Grimwood. Appreciate you stepping in here, homie. Here on this
Hump Day.
Absolutely, man. It's Wednesday, man. We're getting on over this hump here on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, and tune in. The show can also be heard on demand on all 3 of those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. You can also catch the live stream going on right now on the Facebook page at One Mic with Big Mike. That's the same handle I use for my Twitter and my Instagram, so make sure you guys like the page. Holler at me. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Look, did y'all see the story on my man Ennis Cantor? We're gonna get to on this day here in a second and get back to the trade stuff. My man Ennis Cantor for the Knicks. I just looked up at the screen here and it came across my mind. It crossed my mind. My man on Halloween, instead of those little chocolates that they wrap in that gold foil, they kind of expensive or whatever. My wife eat them or whatever. Instead of giving kids those, he took the foil wrapper and wrapped it around what are those things called? Brussels sprouts. And put them in the kids' Halloween bags on some real savage ass stuff. So when the kids got home, they was like, "Yeah, we about to bang this chocolate out." It wasn't nothing but little bitty cabbages in your Halloween bag. That's what your ass get going around people's house begging for candy every year. Get Brussels sprouts is what you get. And he's a huge human being, a monster. So I dare you to go back to his house with some damn eggs and toilet paper. Get dealt with. And he's a fugitive too for like the Serbian government or somebody. So yeah, go get dealt with, players. Anyway, it's that time in the show when I have guests. It's that time in the show where I take a look back into the history of sports. I call it On This Day.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
Yeah, I see I am No-Dos in the chat room saying, you the man, homie. I'm very sure. I couldn't be any more sure of anything that he's not referring to me. Apparently he's referring to my guest in the last segment, Rob Grimwood, giving him some more fantasy advice on Cooper Kupp. Yeah, not that damn silly. Anyway, on this day in 1924, the first ever U.S. NHL franchise was founded. They were the Boston Bruins. I had a chance to get this Boston Bruins snapback, this New Era hat yesterday, but it's like no, it was not. It was a Michelin S, and it had BBB on it, and it looked too much like the LeVar Ball situation, so I left it. You know, it was on hella discount, but I left it anyway. And I'm not the dude that usually passes up on discounts when it comes to my brims, but that one I had to let it ride. Anyway, on this day in 1946, the New York Knicks, they about to play right now. Their first basketball game occurred. They beat the Toronto Huskies 68-66. You know, those kind of games that y'all love. Big men, back to the basket, barely dribbling, no shooting. Yeah, 68-66. Calm down. On this day in 1959, the first ever NHL goalie to wear a hockey mask was Jacques Plante. I guess that's Plante, Plante. On this day in 1966, the NFL awards the city of New Orleans, its 16th franchise. They were the Saints. I guess also today is All Saints Day, so they were called the Saints. Didn't know that part. On this day in 1987, 22,000 people run in the New York City Marathon. It was won by Ibrahim Hussein, of course, of Kenya. Don't get it twisted. Or probably of Ethiopia. Either one of those two is always a safe bet. I mentioned this only to mention that after what happened yesterday in New York, the organizers of the New York Marathon was like, you know, middle fingers to you terrorists. We still gonna have our marathon. It's still gonna go down. So big up to them. And finally, on this day in 2001, Derek Jeter, the captain, the biracial angel, he hits Major League Baseball's first home run in the month of November, crowning him, or people crowned him then, Mr. November. Of course, my man Reggie Jackson is Mr. October. And that is your Hump Day edition of On This Day here on the One Mike with Big Mike show. All right. Before I start talking to my man Rob, I put something on hold. I put something on the back burner that it's just one of those stupid stories that only happens to certain, like, you know how certain things only happen to certain franchise, and when they happen, no one can really be surprised. Well, that happened yesterday. The Browns, they put together a trade. I think they were going to send a second and third round pick to Cincinnati for their backup quarterback, former Georgia quarterback, bad me, former Bama quarterback, A.J. McCarron. I was thinking, what's the other kid's name? Aaron Murray is who I was thinking, but caught myself in time. A.J. McCarron. And apparently, the story that came out initially was, while these jerks were high-fiving and celebrating, the deadline was 4 o'clock. So the deal is happening around like 4:55, 4:57, and like real close to the deadline. Like really on some CP time. And I don't have to remind you guys, the head coach and the dude in the front office, a dude named Sashi, they are both bruhs. So me referencing CP time is very, very apropos in this situation. So they coming down to the wire. You know what I'm saying? Something went on with the paperwork, and in the way that it was supposed to be delivered to the league office, it didn't happen. And while they celebrating getting A.J. McCarron, which I don't even understand why that's a thing, but anyway, they're celebrating getting A.J. McCarron, subsequently probably ruining what's left of his career if it did happen. And I say if it did happen because it didn't happen. The deal fell through because these JOs didn't get the stuff done on time. And I don't know any other organization where you would say, man, how the hell that happened? Any. Except for when I say it's the Cleveland Browns. You say, all right, well, I know. See exactly how it happened then. Meanwhile, now all the Bengals and Marvin Lewis is like, well, I'm relieved that we didn't lose AJ. He's a very important part of this team. Really? And I can see why they would do it. You know what I mean? If the Patriots got a 2 for Garoppolo, and the dumbass Browns want to give up a 2 and a 3 for McCarron, which I think McCarron was like a 5th round pick, 5th or 6th round pick. So his stock some kind of way rose. Garoppolo's a 2nd round pick. Dig? And by the way, we talked about on Monday what the Patriots were doing. Well, apparently in the deal, and I don't think this happened by chance. Once they send Garoppolo out to the Bay, they release Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer is a guy who's been in that Patriots system before. So once they do that, the Patriots go from having just one quarterback, that one being Tom Brady, to now signing their backup quarterback, their new backup quarterback, and Brian Hoyer to a 3-year deal. And I figured that had to be, kind of spoken about within the trade. Like, no, don't trade him to us. Just cut him, and we'll pay him what we want to pay him, not what you jerk offs are paying him. And I also read earlier today too that the Packers tried to step in there real quick, and I'm gonna tell you why that's a thing. Why the Packers stepping in there and trying to steal Brian Hoyer is a real thing, because of how Mike McCarthy acted when he was asked about Colin Kaepernick. You know what I mean? He was asked about Colin Kaepernick when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. And he got real testy and real butthurt about the question. Like, we've invested all this time in Brett Hundley and whoever the other backup quarterback is, the 3rd string quarterback is. We've invested all this time. They've been here. They know the system. Oh, yeah, by the way, Brett Hundley sucks. Well, the last game he played, he sucked in it. You know what I mean? So the fact that you had all that confidence when you had all that confidence in those two dudes when someone asked you about Colin Kaepernick, but still yet you was trying to throw a monkey wrench in the Patriots' plans and steal Brian Hoyer from them. Come on, B. Like, I want this dude to win this damn collusion thing, but I just know it's so hard to prove. I don't really see it happening, but I really want him to win this. I want the NFL to get everything they deserve for what's happening to that dude. So yeah, that AJ McCarron thing, it's just so Browns. And meanwhile, you can only imagine he's somewhere like, whew, glad that didn't happen. Man, send me anywhere else, not there. That is if you ever see that video, the Factory of Sadness video is hilarious, by the way. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. Some white cat comedian. It's a hilarious video if you want to go check it out after you're done listening to this show, of course. A couple other things happened. Josh Gordon, he met with the NFL today, and apparently he was reinstated. He was conditionally reinstated, meaning he can practice with the team or whatever. They were said to be looking to trade the kid. I don't know what he's going to be able to give a team being away for 2 years. He's still young. I think he's like 25, 26 years old, so he's still relatively young. Again, a guy whose career was derailed for the marijuana, the stickiest of the icky. And what about, like, dude, I saw Al Harrington talking. We mentioned this David Stern thing. I don't know if it was Monday or last week sometime, by David Stern saying that the NBA, needs to take marijuana off its banned substance list. He was doing a situation with an interview with Al Harrington, I think for the Undisputed, man, and he was like real open about it. Like, yeah, let it ride. Like he's smoking the weed himself right now. That's what I got from him. Like, David Stern's getting high around this piece. And I mean, if he is, good for him. You know what I'm saying? Good for old rigid ass, heavy handed ass David Stern. But so we may see Josh Gordon back on the football field, because it can't be worse than what they're dealing with in out there now. Kenny Britt in Cleveland. It can't be any worse than that. This is a dude who missed 4 games his first year and led the entire league in receiving with like 20 different bad bum ass quarterbacks. So the kid can play football, man. It's just, he can't abide by the NFL stupid ass rules, man, when it comes to the weed. And the last time he got suspended, by the way, was for liquor. Because I think once you get so far into the program, they test you for everything. And after the season was over with, he got on the plane. He was on the plane and had a drink on the plane, and they tested him like the next day, and he had liquor in his system. Well, here's the thing. Oh, you want to know how I believe him or why I believe him? The thing is with the NFL, if you get suspended for a drug-related situation like PEDs or anything like that, and you come out and you say it's this thing, like if you get hit with a PED situation, you be like, no, it was a supplement I was taking, and blah, 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 blah. If it wasn't that, the NFL can disclose what it actually was. Like if Josh Gordon said it was the liquor, but it was actually weed or cocaine or whatever, the NFL can be like, no, it's not. They can't initiate the disclosure, but they can refute what you say. And because they didn't refute it, I don't even have to believe him, that it was he had a drink. He wasn't smoking the weed no more. He still got suspended for like a year plus, man. So shout out to that kid. Hopefully things turn around for him. And if they don't, so what? I can't really fake like I care. I just think it's ridiculous. The rule itself is ridiculous. I don't have any reason to defend Josh Gordon's decisions. The rule itself is just stupid. Here's something that's awesome. I don't know how many of you guys and girls like yourself some Papa John's pizza. I never have. I've always thought it was terrible. Like the crust was all chewy and not good. I just thought the pizza itself was bad. And the only redeemable thing about Papa John's was that garlic butter thing, which is nothing really special. Like it's something you can do at your crib with some, with some granulated garlic and some country, what is it called? Country crock spread. Yeah, you can recreate that at the crib easily. Anyway. He's butthurt about his sales being declining, and he, like a lot of white folks have done, decided they want to blame it on the players protesting. Well, I don't know what the hell they're protesting now. I can't even make that lie to act like to start acting like I even know what's going on right now. But because the players are kneeling during the anthem and white people are losing their damn mind about it. Papa John said he's losing business, and he's pissed at the NFL, and he has some pretty, strong words to say to his, partners. I guess that's what they are, right? He and the NFL are partners. He announced today that he's pulling his advertising that's associated with the NFL. So all the commercials with J.J. Watt, the stuff with Peyton Manning and all that. I guess Peyton Manning is still kind of associated with the NFL. Yeah, probably pulling those too. He said his sales are down due to the negative consumer sentiment, quote unquote, regarding the company's relationship with the NFL. And yeah, those consumers, they are pigment lacking. You know what I mean? It's not talking about you black bastards at all. Yeah, they don't care about you cats. He chalked up last year's decline, because of course they declined last year, to the presidential election, but said this year's drop is due to the polarizing, quote unquote, polarizing controversy. In exchange for pulling his ads, he said the NFL has given Papa John's additional future spots moving forward. And what he had to say about the NFL was pretty, this is a white man mad here. He's a white man mad. Quote, good or bad, leadership starts at the top, and this is an example of poor leadership. I'm going to translate this to you guys in a second. This should have been nipped in the bud a year and a half ago. The NFL controversy is polarizing the consumer, polarizing the country. What he's saying is, you guys are doing a terrible job of keeping your Negroes in line, your coloreds in line, your N-words in line. That's how I translate that. And because of that, my good old white folk patrons don't want to buy my damn pizza anymore, because I'm locked in arms with you guys. We can't have that. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, he talked about how he blamed the presidential election last year, but at no point did he say anything about the dude that's fronting like he's the president now, that he's fronting like he's the actual president, the orange monster that's in the White House. No word on that. No word on what he's doing as it relates to this controversy. No word on the initial purpose of the protest. Because when it comes to your green and your money, who cares who the police are killing? See, that's the problem with this country, man. it's dominated statistically by white people. So things don't become an issue until they affect white people. You know, for instance, we have an opioid epidemic. All of a sudden. Meanwhile, and I've mentioned this before, but I don't care. I'll mention it as many damn times as I want to, because I look up at the marquee and I see my name on the show. Meanwhile, the government has admitted to pumping the black community full of cocaine. It wasn't an epidemic then. It was a damn war. They call it a war. They started locking MFers up. Mandatory minimums, giving cats life for dope. You know what I'm saying? Now, all of a sudden, we got to open up more hospitals. Got to have a national medical emergency. You know why? Because it's Becky and Becca. They're the ones that's dying and getting hooked on this stuff now, on some different stuff. Legal heroin. If you think I'm being hyperbolic when I'm saying that, I'm not. It's the same chemical makeup as heroin. That's why when these cats can't get no more of their prescriptions or whatever it is, Vicodin or Zoloft or whatever it is, that's why they head to the hood, to the trap house and get that H. And they get hooked on that because it's the same thing, just cheaper and more readily available, depending on the risk that you're willing to take to get it and the things that you're willing to do with your mouth to get it, I guess, also. What I'm hearing. So, yeah, that's all this stuff is about, man. You know, until it affects John, whatever his name is, Papa John and Jerry Jones and Bob Kraft and these cats, no one cares. You know, this Bob Kraft Jr. gets killed by the police for no reason, which I don't see happening at any time in the near or distant future. There's no reason for him to care. You know what I'm saying? It's white folks that have actually been shot by other white gunmen in like these mass shooting situations. These freaking lawmakers themselves. Gabby Gifford, the dude that just got shot at the softball game a couple of months ago. After this Vegas thing happened, you ask these cats about gun reform. It's like, nah, I don't think we should have any type of gun reform. Wait, but you almost died. Nah, that don't make any difference. Yeah, I'm alive, ain't I? And I'm trying to get reelected. All right, B. You know what I'm saying? If you almost kill me with a baseball bat, cause I'm gonna be definitely first one in line to get them things outlawed immediately. These folks, though, they cut from a way different cloth, way different, cause it's that important for them to have that political power, so to speak. All right, that's cool. Anyway, back to whole Papa John, this whole thing with the protests and whatever. The guy who started the protest, obviously Colin Kaepernick. I saw this article. His lawyer is believing that he's going to be signed to a team within 10 days. And that was a couple days ago. So I think we're probably around 8 or 10 days. And you know how the social media people do. Everybody want to react. Yeah, hell yeah, about time. You know why? Because you MFers want to watch football again, or at least want to tell people you're watching again. Like now, I believe a good majority of you hashtag boycott NFL people, y'all still watching football in some form. You know, even if you turn on ESPN to catch the highlights or NFL Network, you still watching. You know, just because you don't sit your ass down and watch the whole game, come on, B. But that being what it is, a lot of people got happy quickly. And if you hadn't heard, my philosophy on things like this is I'm from the Bernie Mac school of thinking. I don't believe nothing out here. I believe ish when ish happens. Yeah, when this dude is on somebody's squad, then holler at me. I'll believe it. I still 100% believe that. Nah, cuz. Oh, look at Christoph Porzingis and all 8'9" of him. Anyway, I believe his career is over. He's become a martyr, and he may have, because of the way people are acting, he may have been martyred in vain also because of how stupid people are. I am no dose. I'm not watching highlights either. Good for you, dog. Good for you. See, you a stubborn dude like I am. That's probably why I rock with you, man. Because, like, when there's a point to prove, like, I don't care how stupid it is. And I'm not saying this is a stupid point. I don't care. I'm a grudge holding, you know what I'm saying? I'm a grudge holding MFer. And in the spirit of that, I hold it to the death. You know what I mean? Just not to be wrong. Apparently, the Astros are already up in this game, this World Series that I haven't mentioned today. By the way, the World Series Game 7 is tonight. One more thing on football, and I want to say something about this World Series too before I get out of here. But one more thing, I give you guys these quite current or quite frequent, I should say, updates on what's happening in the world of concussions and CTE and things of that nature. The last thing that I gave you guys was that they are thinking that they can develop a blood test to determine how much of an effect a concussion is having on a person and how long they need to be out and how serious the concussion is and things of that nature. Well, here is another study that's been, I don't know if it was just published today. The article came out 19 hours ago at the time that I pulled this, so around about 24 hours now. The NFL and the NFL Players Association recently paid for a study on CTE. I would conclude that they didn't get their money's worth or what they expected to get. One of the big takeaways is that the types of concussions suffered by linemen are more likely to produce CTE than those suffered by skill positions. Isn't that something that I keep on telling y'all? Like the NFL has you guys and me and everybody else focused on these big hits across the middle or the Joe Flacco type of concussions. And that's not the biggest of the big deals. They're all big deals, but that's not the biggest of the big deals. And this study has, once again, science is backing me up on this. I mean, science was already backing me up. I didn't just make it up out the clear blue sky. But this is further evidence of what I'm saying. This study divides NFL players into two categories: speed players, of course, the DBs and the running backs and the wide receivers, and the non-speed players, the big guys, right? And what it found was it is actually the smaller, more repeated collisions suffered by linemen that create the greater risk for CTE, i.e. those subconcussive blows that I'm talking about, not the stuff that knocks your ass out and has you with the stiff concussion arms in the middle of the field, not that stuff. The constant run blocking. And I challenge anybody, if you are still looking at football, do what I do. Watch the linemen. Every play. Watch how violent that stuff is down in those quote-unquote trenches on every play. It ain't nothing to play with. But, of course, the NFL wants to tell you that it's all about eliminating the big hit and the defenseless receiver and all this kind of ridiculousness. And it's not. It's just a way to get your attention away from the real deal, is that the game is never going to be safe. Here's how the study went down. By analyzing the brains of 61 former players, half played only college ball, like me, and the other half went on to play professional ball, so around 30-30. The researchers concluded that their hypothesis was correct. Certain positions were linked to greater white matter damage due to recurring head impacts. The white matter is the matter in the front of the brain, the frontal lobe. In particular, they looked at the effects of playing speed positions like running backs and wide receivers versus non-speed positions such as offensive and defensive linemen. In general, linemen tend to bear the brunt of brain impacts, especially those in the front of the helmet where you run block, right? Individuals that played non-speed positions that had a history of recurrent concussions, 3 or more, they found had more damage to their frontal white matter, the part of the brain where CTE takes hold. That wasn't the case for those that played speed positions and had a history of concussions, suggesting that the way the non-speed players become concussed is different and more dangerous. Yeah, they don't know it's happening to them because one, is happening so frequently, and it's not happening in that violent of a manner. So there's no need for a line or a referee to look at a lineman and be like, oh, he ain't doing real well. No, because they're doing it every play. And for those of you who don't know, like when you get hit in the head and you see those little stars per se, scientifically they say that that's a concussion. So I'm here to just tell you, change your frame of mind from Antonio Brown getting knocked out by Vontaze Burfict or Joe Flacco holding up that one arm. Which, by the way, the memes to that are hilarious. I even put one out. That it was like a teacher saying Flacco, Joe Flacco, and then he was saying here, present. I don't care. These dudes know what they're getting into. I don't care what happens to them. None of you care either. You try to act like you do, but you really don't. We're a bunch of savage human beings, and only I'm one of the few that's willing to admit it. So To wrap this up, linemen, right? They effectively can't be protected, by rules the way wide receivers can. Like, what you gonna do? So you can't block with your head? It's not practical, man. That becomes the literal death of the sport. Happens when that happens. When linemen aren't able to fire off the ball and block. You know what I'd be very interested to see? What it's like in the CFL. Because I don't know if you guys watch any CFL football, but their linemen, their defensive linemen, have to line up 1 yard off the ball. Now they run the ball a lot less frequently because they only play 3 downs. Like, you only have 2 downs to get a first down, and then on third down you have to punt. It's not 3 downs and then punt on fourth down. It's 2 downs and then punt on third down. So you only have 3 downs. So they don't run as much. But think about it. The linemen, they line up a yard after, so a yard off of the ball, which means on running plays, they basically get a freaking running start at each other before they hit. So that's, shout out to Canada. But I'd like to see what the results would be in that league, how things play out as far as this concussion stuff in that league. Got one more segment here, One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm going to turn to the baseball game during the break, and we'll talk a little about what's happening, not in this particular game or series, but what's happening in baseball overall. And something I saw last night while watching the game that really caught my attention that I was like, had to give it the side eye a little bit. So we'll talk about that next here on the One Mic with Big Mike show, heard live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, and tune in. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. I'll be back.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Every year, millions of teens work to earn extra money and learn important skills. But certain jobs can jeopardize your health or well-being. So know the rules. First, the hours you can work. If you're 14 or 15, you can only work for 3 hours on a school day and for 8 hours on a non-school day. Also, if you're 14 or 15, you may not work before 7 a.m. or after 7 p.m., except from June 1st through Labor Day, when you can work later, up to 9 p.m. Next, and really important, hazardous jobs. If you're under 18, jobs such as roofing, operating dangerous equipment, and most driving jobs are off limits. So work safe. For more information, call the U.S. Department of Labor's toll-free helpline at 1-866-4US-WAGE or visit youthrules.dol.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Labor.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go!
Yeah, man. It's Wednesday here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. What inning is it? I can't. Oh, it's only the first inning. Damn, and the damn Astros already up. But we've seen this series. We've seen this damn series. That ain't nothing. A 2-0 lead in the first inning. It's gonna be 19 runs scored by each team in this damn game for us all over. They're gonna use every damn pitcher in the world. The damn manager's gonna come out there and pitch. Hey, is the manager for the Dodgers? Is he a bruh? It's baseball, so it's hard to tell. Like a lot of these cats, they pass the eye test. I mean, is he an American bruh? That's what I'm trying to say. Because I know like Yasiel Puig is a bruh, but he's a bruh from like Cuban. He's a what is it called? Afro-Spanish, whatever. Hispanic, Afro-Hispanic, or whatever I don't know these labels white people put on us, man. But he's an African that came and his people slave ship just happened to land in the islands and then make it all the way to America. That's what I'm trying to say. But I'm asking, is the manager for the Dodgers, is he a bruh? Because that would give me reason to vote, to not vote for him, to root for him. Because either way, I don't care. You got your man Yu Darvish on the mound. The kid, I can't remember his name to save my life. I don't know none of these dudes' names, to be honest with you, except for Puig. But the homie that was making fun of Yu Darvish said he wanted to meet with him so he could apologize to him. Yu Darvish pulled one of my numbers. I just mentioned in the last segment how much of an a-hole I am about stuff. Yeah, he pulled one of my gigs. He's like, nah, I don't need to meet with this dude. I'm good. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that don't mean he was offended. It's just like, dude, we weren't friends. We weren't scheduled to talk before the series started, before you did what you did. So whatever. Screw you, man. Let's move on. Let's rock on. If we end up on the same team one day, maybe then we could have a conversation. But look, man. And plus, he Japanese too. You know what I'm saying? Like, when they have all that martial arts stuff, he's trying to compete against you. Time to be sitting down meeting with your ass. Anyway. Before I go on to that and also get to my college football talk here, what was it I want? Oh, I got to mention Halloween one more time. I got to mention one more thing about Halloween. Something that gets my goat. Every year, right? Every year for Halloween. And this has happened for the last couple of years. White people somewhere dress up like black people. Sometimes I think it's, overtly trying to be racist a-holes, and sometimes I think it's more innocent than we allow it to be. Either way, at some point, when does it just become something that you don't just self, at black people, I'm talking to you guys, that you yourself don't advertise? Because, like, it's one thing for them to do it, but then for it to get, reposted or shared or whatever it's called, 1,000,000 times by the people who claim to be so offended by it. Like, if it offends you that much, why you want it on your Facebook page? I'm just curious about that. You know what I'm saying? And maybe the first time it happens, you're like, man, damn, this messed up. But come on, B. If it keeps happening and you keep doing the same thing and you keep having the same reaction to it, it's kind of more about you at that point. I had told somebody that today because I saw the video of Trump meeting with those little kids, like the kids of the press corps for Halloween. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't heard the audio, because I know plenty of people probably saw it like I did and just kind of like scroll past and like whatever. If you haven't heard the audio to it, you must hear this. If you're an idiot the way I'm an idiot, you are going to cry laughing at it. That dude is such a moron, dude. Like, he don't even understand. It's like, and I say this in the most like careful way. I'm not careful because it's not going to sound careful. It's like watching a dude that's a pedophile and somebody like trying to set him up in a sting operation by putting a bunch of kids around him, but he knows it's a sting, but he don't know how to act and he's like hella uncomfortable. That's what it was watching Donald Trump. The stuff that he said to one little girl, I guess he was passing out bags of candy or something. He told this little girl, couldn't been no more than about 7, 8 years old. Well, it's a good thing you don't have a weight problem. What? What? Like, he's giving her candy and said, well, it's a good thing you don't have a weight problem. I was like, this dude don't even understand how stupid he is. Like, if you're a stupid person, you just be like, you know what? I'm an idiot. That's one thing. But for that dude to be so stupid and think he's so smart at this point, you can't be offended no more. You got to just take it as comedy, man. It's hilarious if you look at it through that lens. He's a total moronic idiot, and he has nuclear weapons. Like, if you're going to be worried about anything, worry about that part of it. The other stuff, whatever. He has the soul of a rich white American man. You know what I mean? However you want to package it, whether you want to package it the way it looks like, what's that dude's name? Mitch McConnell, or the other dude that runs the other part of the government. If you want to however you want to package it, I don't look at him as any different. I heard Laura Bush 2's wife today, you know, her father-in-law, the first Bush, he apologized for groping women, even in his damn wheelchair. She says that these women and us, everybody else, are just making a big deal out of something very innocent. I was like, look, dude, I think you should probably ask those women if it's a big deal. Like, what's their perspective on it? They think it's a big deal. Yeah, you're right, dude. The bats are alive. This cat just hit a double off the wall. I told you, this 2-0 lead, whatever. It's about to be, look, this whole 2-0 lead situation, it's about to be tied up right with this next batter. I don't even know who the next batter is. The next batter is about to launch one out this piece, and it's going to be tied up again. We're going to be up till like 5 o'clock in the morning watching baseball again. All right, speaking of baseball, Couple of things. This series has been good. I heard Tim Kirchin, somebody who, when I hear talk about baseball, I listen. Tim Kirchin of ESPN. He said this is probably the best World Series he's ever seen. And from my understanding, he's been covering World Series since 1981. So he's seen a bunch of them. And with that being said, I want to tell people this, because there are people who I know who like baseball, who claim to love baseball, and don't want to admit that it's a dying sport. And it's dying because the fan base is dying. The average age of Major League Baseball's fans, I think, is somewhere like 59 or something like that. It's hella old. You know what I mean? These people who sit in the stands with their scorecards or whatever, and they writing down every pitch and every out and all this kind of craziness. Those people are being eliminated because society has changed. People ain't got all damn night to be sitting at a baseball game or even at the crib watching the baseball game. They too damn long. That last game was 5 hours, man. It ain't but 24 in a damn day. And you really only up for like 20 of them. So that breaks you down to like 15, 8 or 9 of which you're probably working and on the road going back and forth to work. Ain't nobody got all that time, man. It ain't like football where it's just played basically. Football gives you one day, Sunday, and then you get sprinkled in some Monday and Thursday action in there as well. But the majority baseball day or football day is one day. Baseball is like every damn day. They just did this last night. What I'm watching right now happened already last night. But here's what I saw yesterday that was hella. I thought was like, okay, I understand what y'all doing. They had this commercial with these little kids on it. And it was for the MLB.com website where you can get all your fan gear or whatever. And these little kids saying, I'm not a weirdo because I love baseball. I love baseball. I'm the biggest fan. And I'm looking at this commercial like, yeah, right. You find me 10, 9 to 15-year-olds that screaming how much they love. They got a bunch of little girls out there. We love baseball. I'm like, come on. Is baseball now some kind of way on Snapchat? On Twitter or any of these things these kids are using? If not, you know what it is, though. Football. Football's on Amazon. They on Yahoo. They get it. They played football games on Twitter last year. Hell yeah. Like, if it's one thing the NFL gets, it's like they want to be everywhere you are at all freaking times. Okay, I lied. The next batter didn't tie the game up, but they still got 2 outs to do it in. And I'm saying, this damn dude on second base, the way they talking about this damn baseball is juiced and all this kind of craziness, he ain't going to be there all inning. He ain't going to get stranded out there. All right, last thing I got to talk about to you guys tonight, and then I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going to watch this game and watch some basketball at the same time. Yesterday, the first college football playoff rankings came out.
Go Dogs, sick 'em.
Yep, and those Georgia Bulldogs are number one. And if you heard me say it at the beginning of the show, if you didn't hear it, I'm going to say it again now. You shouldn't care. Shout out to my guy, Brian Hoyt, one of my former coworkers over at 680 The Fan here in Atlanta. He's a big-time Georgia homer. And unlike a lot of you weirdos, he actually attended the school and graduated from the school. So it's acceptable, much more acceptable than a lot of you other weirdos, but whatever. He talked about, how there's a lot of work to be done. And he understands that every year, this is Georgia. Not necessarily getting this close and being number one this late in the season, but they got to play South Carolina this week. And these 4 weeks are the weeks where in the last couple of years we've seen like strange crap happening. Teams lose that they shouldn't have any reason to lose these games. So Georgia has South Carolina this week. In a couple of weeks, of course, they got Georgia Tech. I don't know who they got in between that. Probably some cupcake. If I know, how Georgia gets down, probably like Georgia Southern or somebody who just fired their coach. And real quick, let me give you guys the rundown if you don't know. From 10-1, you got Miami still undefeated. You got Wisconsin, they're undefeated. I'm going to talk about these two teams here in just a second. TCU, who just got their first loss. Penn State, who just got their first loss at 7. Ohio State, who gave Penn State their first loss at number 6. Oklahoma, who gave Ohio State their only loss, but they have a loss as well to Iowa State, who Iowa State basically just gave they gave TCU their first loss. What I was about to say is they're basically looking like a much better loss than they looked like against Oklahoma, which I think helps Oklahoma be ahead of Ohio State, which I talked about on Monday's show, that if it was vice versa, I wouldn't mind. Clemson's number 4, which means this selection committee gave Dabo Swinney's kids, damn it, they just hit somebody with the damn ball. It gave Dabo Swinney's kids, he's a ginger too. He's a ginger with a beard from hell. Gave Dabo Swinney's guys the benefit of the doubt for Kelly Bryant being knocked out of that Syracuse game that they lost. That is their only loss. Now, here's Notre Dame sitting at number 3. They've got a couple games that they've got to win. I mentioned those games to you guys on Monday. I don't remember them offhand right now. But Notre Dame is at number 3 because that loss to Georgia is not really looked upon as a real loss. It was not a blowout game, I don't believe. I think Georgia kind of handed it to them, but I think it was close for a good portion of the game. Then you have what many people may think is a surprise, Alabama at 2. And I think that happened because their schedule just hasn't been there. Like Georgia's played a much better and much harder schedule than has Alabama to this point. So with that being said, of course,
The Georgia Town Bulldogs
are number 1. And this is only the first poll. There are, I don't know, 3, 4 more of these to come. And we'll see what happens, man. We'll see. But I think what's interesting, and what a lot of people in Miami, people in Wisconsin will find interesting, is that a bunch of one-loss teams, Notre Dame, Clemson, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Penn State, TCU, from 3 to 8 are ahead of 2 undefeated teams in number 9, Miami, and number 10, Wisconsin. Number 10, Wisconsin. I'm saying it wrong. Number 10, Miami, and number 9, Wisconsin. And I wonder why that was, because I don't pay that much attention to it, like I mentioned earlier. So I went and found it for myself. I went and found out why this is that way. Well, when you dig a little bit deeper into this situation, I'm getting distracted because I'm watching this damn game. It's 2 men on now. Yeah, so somebody might make this a 3-2 game. This ball, they didn't hit like 100 and something home runs already in the World Series. Like, if I'm putting money on, I'm betting the next dude is going to hit a home run. Like, every time, I'm going to just bet the next guy is hitting a home run, unless that's the pitcher, of course. But I don't know. He don't look like the pitcher. Anyway, the Badgers of Wisconsin, they hadn't had a top 25 win. They played a bunch of nobodies. And then with their schedule here in the Big Ten, that should change, maybe depending on what Michigan does. I'm sorry, I lost my place here that quick. Yeah. They could obviously get to the big 24 home runs in the World Series. Where did I get 100 from? Is that the whole playoffs? Couple hundred in the whole playoffs? You know I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. I heard that number somewhere, 100 and something. It must be the entire playoff, but 24 in the World Series. Hell, still, that's only 6 games. So what does that average out to be, like 8 per game? No, that's wrong. That's 6 per game. God, man, I hate that I went to public school in Decatur. No, I don't. I loved it. Anyway, so they get the Big Ten title game if they win the Big Ten West, which will allow them to either play Ohio State or Penn State, and if they beat them, they'll have another top 10 win. So they have an opportunity to at least get 2 before the season's over. Then you have Miami. 2 of their wins, you remember that Florida State win, a down Florida State team this year, and they keep getting worse, so that makes it even worse for them that Florida State is bad. That came down to the last play, and that Georgia Tech game came. What did I say? 6 times 6 is 36. What did I say? I meant to say 4. I should have said 4. Hey, man, screw you, man. I'm distracted. I'm doing like 4 different things. I watched this game. No excuses. I should know math. I should know basic math. I'm not going to give any excuses for that. Only 2 of the Miami Hurricanes teams that they played so far had winning records. So they've been punished for having a weak competition and not banging that weak competition out. Now they'll have the ACC championship game, and if they're able to go undefeated through the ACC, regardless of what it looks like, they're probably going to get into the top 4. So it all comes down to, something that I always say: just win your games, just win your damn games, and everything will be, copacetic. All right, they got my dude up, Yasiel Puig. He's up. The one dude that I know him and the other dude. I don't know his name, though. The little short dude for the Astros. Oh, I know Gaddis because Gaddis played here. And obviously Brian McCann played here as well. And I know Kershaw. I know Verlander, the pitchers. And Yu Darvish. I know a couple. I know them cats. But, you know, like these baseball-loving dudes, I don't know nearly as many of these cats. I hope Puig knocked this mug out the whole damn stadium. I hated what they did to him, man. They made that dude, feel like he was playing the game the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? Because of course the right way equals the white way in baseball. Took away his patented bat flip, sent my man down to the minor leagues, and they thought he was gonna go down there and pout and cry. He went down there and turned up with them dudes, all on Instagram videos and at the club, making it rain. I love this guy. I wish every team had like 20 something of these of him. You know what I'm saying? Because now that the team is good, just like anything else, white people have turned what they call a distraction and him being immature they turn it into infectious fun now. Same thing. Him licking the bat and, crawling on the baseline with his tongue out. All those things that were immature and distractions and all that. Now the team is good. They won 100-something games. Guess what? Yeah, it's infected. His way of playing, the fun is infected. Hit this dude. Charge the mound, dog. No, I'm playing. Don't do that. And I want to mention something else, too. Something that baseball finally got right. That Bud Selig crazy stupidness where if you won the World Series, or not the World Series, the All-Star game, you get home field advantage. That's another reason I hope the Dodgers win tonight. To prove that it matters. Win your games in the regular season so that you can have an advantage when it comes down to the World Series that's not dictated by people who aren't going to be in the World Series. From an exhibition game. The Dodgers won the most games. So, thus, this game that we're watching right now is not in Houston. It's in L.A. You know what I'm saying? And maybe, I don't know how it works in baseball. If the crowd gives these guys any type of boost, I would assume it would. Yeah, and then they win the game, and then it proves that, that stuff matters, man. You can't just play around with that bull crap. Yeah, we're going to do it in an exhibition game, and whoever wins the exhibition game, that league gets the freaking home field advantage. It's ridiculous. Let me clean the plate real quick, make sure I got everything out that I wanted to talk about today. Oh, I did not. I don't know if you guys saw this story. Somewhere at Hartford University. I don't know where that is, but this white girl had a black roommate. And in order to get this girl out of her room or to make her move, because apparently she didn't like black people, she putting like bloody tampons, like rubbing bloody tampons all over this girl's property. Putting clam chowder? Putting clam chowder in her lotion, so this chick would be putting clam juice or whatever, clam soup or whatever the hell it is on her body, like doing like real ratchet ass stuff, man. But the story does have a happy ending. Her stupid ass is in jail for that junk right now. And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, man, had this been any of the brides from where I'm from, yeah, somebody would have been in jail, but it probably would have been the black chick. Because that's like all that stuff. And it was more than that. You guys can Google this story if you want to, man. If you hadn't seen it all on moldy. It was moldy clam chowder. Like, even just to add an extra boost to the racist, dumbass stuff. Like, and here's the thing, too. I'm the dude that's always saying this. Just because somebody's racist or somebody says somebody's white and they don't like black people, that's not enough of a reason to whoop somebody's ass. Even if somebody calls you the N-word, that's not a reason to whoop nobody's ass. We live in America. They can say what they want to. But when people start doing stuff, one, to your property, and two, to your physical body, yes, you should be able to whoop them an inch away from their damn life at the drop of a damn dime without any type of retribution or repercussion. This, to me, falls into that category. She got this girl putting moldy stuff on her body, man. You crazy as hell. That white broad would have been on some next level ass whooping stuff. But, sometimes I guess cooler heads prevail, and the law is going to, like, watch you get like probation or something. You know what I mean? Like something ridiculous. I'm not going to lie and say I'm going to keep up with this story. I probably won't, because I just happened to see it last night just on some, like, skimming over some stuff for today's show. But I wouldn't be surprised, man. Yeah. Putting a toothbrush in her butthole. Like, that kind of stuff, man, you gotta like get your ass like whooped into a coma behind that. And then this how stupid she is too. This how unintelligent this stupid ass broad is. She gets on, I guess the way they caught her was she gets on social media and it's like finally got the black bitch out of here and then puts all the stuff that she did to her. It's a dumbass. See, that's the kind of stuff that we can get mad about. Like, y'all want to get mad about people dressing up in costumes. This is real stuff that happened to this woman. This is the real terrorism. Well, I ain't gonna say the real. This is another form of terrorism. I'm out, man. I'll be back on Friday, man. We'll wrap this thing up. Like I said, man, I want to try to jump this thing off this I'm gonna call it like free for all or freestyle Friday or something of that nature, man. Where you guys just kind of throw topics at me and then we flesh them out. We get it on. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show, man. I'm here. Shout out to my guys in the chat room, everybody who I do suck at reading comprehension because I don't really read. Like stuff like that, I don't read it in depth. I just skim it. I skim it for the basic points of what I want to get out of it, and then I leave it alone. I don't ingest all of that. Like stuff about CTE and the Ezekiel Elliott stuff, I'll ingest that. This stuff about people putting toothbrushes in their butthole, I'm good. I'm good. I'll just skim it and get the highlights. Anyway, man, appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate my man Rob Grimwood. Everybody who checked in on Facebook and on the chat line or text line. Appreciate you guys. I'll be back on Monday. Make sure you guys tell a friend about the One Mic with Big Mike show. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Like my Facebook page at One Mic with Big Mike. And until Friday, man, you guys remember all you need is one mic.